Hello and good evening, everyone. Kyle Ryman here for Soaring Weather, here to give you your daily live weather discussion for this August 27th, 2020. We're about halfway, or more than halfway through this week, and we've seen a lot of weather throughout this week with Hurricane Laura, the ongoing wildfires currently going on the west coast in California, and then also the severe weather we've been seeing for the past few days here in our region of the U.S., and then we'll be seeing more later on this weekend and to close out this week overall. So we're going to be talking about all of the ongoing weather that is currently going on right now, and then the upcoming weather that we're going to be seeing from now until the end of this weekend. Before we talk about that, though, we'll look at current temperatures across the Garden State, and right now they're a lot warmer than we've been seeing for the past few nights. Other than the northwest corner of New Jersey, which is also probably the coolest in terms of temperatures. Right now, 70s in the northwest corner of New Jersey, and for the rest of the state, you can see temperatures in the mid to lower 80s across the rest of New Jersey for this evening. So a lot warmer what we've been seeing for the past few nights. Last night alone was probably the coolest we've seen in terms of the temperatures around this time. I believe last night got down to as low as the lower 60s for the temperature when we usually talk about our weather during our live weather discussion. So right now it's very warm outside, and then also taking into consideration the humidity as well as we look at our dew points. Dew points, I believe, are in the 70s right now across much of the Garden State, and yes, for much of the Garden State, except for this northwest corner of New Jersey, we're seeing dew points in the lower to mid 70s right now. And what that means is, combined with the very warm temperatures, so temperatures in the 80s as well as dew points in the 70s, it feels very muggy out right now, and it's going to feel muggy for the next few days as we see the remnants of Hurricane Laura bring a lot of tropical moisture into our region going forward for the weekend. As we look at our wind speeds right now, it's very quiet outside right now. We'll look at wind speed as opposed to wind gust. Winds are starting to pick up as a line of thunderstorms is starting to move into our area currently. So we're looking at 5 to 10 mile an hour winds for the most part of New Jersey. And we have a 12 mile an hour peak down in this area of South Jersey, Fortescue, and also a 12 mile an hour reading in Berkeley Township, what it looks like. And then also as well an Oceanic Bridge by Seagirt. So things are starting to pick up right now as those thunderstorms are beginning to progress through our area, into our area. We can look at that with our satellite and radar. Right now, you can see Tropical Storm Laura right now making its way across Arkansas and then parts of the Midwest. It will be due to turn east over the next few days and come into our area mainly during Friday and Saturday, and then eventually be out on Sunday into the very warm Atlantic Ocean that's right offshore of us. And then also in our area, you can see a lot of convection going on right in the northeast, and we can take a look at that actually with our radar. No, that's not what I wanted. So we're going to go back real quick to the composite radar because that gives us a better picture of everything that's going on. So we're going to look at our area of the U.S. right now. Taking a look at this line of thunderstorms, things are really starting to fire up right now. Although things will be cooling down in terms of activity later on in the evening as the sun is setting and there's not much heat for these thunderstorms to utilize as they progress through the Garden State and for the Northeast. But looking overall, it's very impressive on radar right now. Earlier this afternoon, actually, there was a lot of thunderstorm activity for parts of southern New York, and we saw a lot of thunderstorm activity, very well defined, possibly supercells in that area. There were definitely a lot of tornado warnings being issued for that part of New York earlier this afternoon. I would not be surprised if we see 1 or 2 tornado warnings for our area of the Northeast as these lines of thunderstorms are starting to move through right now. As we talk about other ongoing weather events right now, we'll zoom back out to take a look at the rest of the United States and go back to our visible satellite. This is something I've been talking about lately with live weather discussions is the ongoing wildfires right now in California, caused by very severe thunderstorms and a lot of lightning activity about a few weeks back, and it's still ongoing as we speak. And we can look at the current conditions right now and how much of those fires have been contained overall. But you can see that on the visible satellite, the smoke is still present within California. You could actually see a little bit of bright colors in this part of North California, and that's actually the fire itself right now still burning in Northern California. So as we take a look at CAL FIRE's website, good resource for looking at ongoing wildfires, and they provide very quick updates on everything that's going on. So far, these fires combined have burned almost, looks like each of them have burned 368,000 acres of land. So combining that all together, we're almost talking about almost more than 700,000 acres of land altogether from these two wildfires. And looking at how much has been contained so far, only about a third have been contained for both of these fires. So there's still a lot of fire to take care of as the conditions are becoming more favorable for these wildfires over the next few days. So again, thoughts and prayers to the first responders and firefighters that are continuing to fight these fires, and they're making some very good progress out there in California. So that'll wrap that up for that portion of the live weather discussion. Let's talk about the future of the weather for the next few days, and the biggest piece of the puzzle for that is the current tropical storm Laura right now over the Midwest right now. Right now bringing a lot of flash flooding and heavy rains for portions of the Midwest, Louisiana and Texas. If you have seen pictures of the areas affected by Laura's immediate landfall, the pictures are just startling, to say the least. And it was a very good thing that the National Hurricane Center used those very stark words yesterday and the day before with their key messages, and it got a lot of people to get up quickly and get out because they realized this was a very serious situation overall. But right now, Laura's still bringing heavy rains for the Midwest, and we're looking at flash flooding potentials across the board for the Midwest. It's still going to dump an additional 2 to 4 inches for parts of Arkansas, and then leading up into other parts of the Midwest. And then as we take a look further into the forecast, as Laura makes her way into our area, we could be seeing some heavier rains as well. And we can take a look at the forecast cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center to get an idea of where that track is going to take Laura. So over the next few days, we're going to be seeing Laura taking a turn to the east-northeast, and then eventually heading out to seas by Saturday going into Sunday. So we're going to look at heavy rains for Saturday for much of the day, maybe some lingering showers for the overnight hours on Sunday, but most of the activity is going to be for the day on Saturday. And then eventually from there, they're actually saying her tropical storm Laura at this point is going to be re-intensifying from a tropical depression back into a tropical storm, possibly, as it makes its way over this portion of the Atlantic. And that's rightfully so, because there are very warm sea surface temperatures right off our waters. So there's a lot of potent fuel for it to re-intensify and reorganize going forward. Whether that's going to impact our area or not, it doesn't look like it's going to be that very likely, since by the time it does re-intensify and reorganize and gets its shape together, it's already out to sea in the northern Atlantic. I would be concerned about these areas of Canada for the next few days. If you are living in these areas, you should be watching the National Hurricane Center, the latest updates they are providing as well, or the Canadian Meteorological Forecasting Agency. So that's the current forecast with Tropical Storm Laura, and then we're also going to be taking a look at models as well with Tropical Storm Laura. Before we're going to talk about Laura, let's talk about these thunderstorms that are currently moving through right now, since that's right on our doorstep right now. We're talking about hours away from these severe thunderstorms really coming into our area. As we look back again at our current satellite, they're right on our doorstep, and some parts of northwestern New Jersey are seeing those thunderstorms right now, and that would probably explain for why we're seeing very cool temperatures in that corner of the state right now. We'll go back to the satellite radar over this area of the northeast, and you can see right now thunderstorms are currently making its way right now, and some are actually firing up in between these two main lines. And so we're looking at a very potential severe situation with these thunderstorms right now. We're going to go to the National Weather Service forecasting office in Mount Holly to see if anything has been issued for these thunderstorms that are currently moving through. Some are severe thunderstorm warned, like this one that's currently over in eastern Pennsylvania and looking to make its way into portions of central to southern New Jersey in the next coming hours. And then on top of that, there is another severe thunderstorm warning issued for the extreme northeast corner of New Jersey for tonight going into the next few hours. And there's also a severe thunderstorm watch for issued for parts of Harrisburg, Lancaster, and other parts of eastern Pennsylvania that do not immediately border New Jersey. So we're looking at severe weather for the night, probably going to be concluding later on this evening. And we can actually take a look at the models to see what the timing for the rest of this event is going to be. So right now, here's our severe thunderstorms right now. We're going to actually refresh this and make sure we have the newest model as possible. We always want to have the freshest model available for forecasting, especially when we're talking about hours here. So we're going to go to the latest model, even though most of it hasn't been loaded yet and hasn't been processed. So what we're looking at right now, here's our severe thunderstorms. Here's that one line in western Pennsylvania and Ohio, and the other in the southern tip of New York City, the New York State, and parts of Connecticut going out into Long Island. And looking further into the forecast, these lines of thunderstorms are going to be moving faster east than they are south. So they're kind of going to move in a east-southeast kind of direction for the next few hours. And that's going to mainly impact northern and central New Jersey in the coming hours. But most of these thunderstorms should be wrapped up by 12 a.m., 1 o'clock a.m. overnight. So that's our timing for these thunderstorms. There's still a lot of energy for these thunderstorms to utilize, even though the sun has set and there's no more addition to the amount of energy that is in the atmosphere currently. So that's the severe weather situation right now for the next coming hours. And now we're going to talk about the situation with Tropical Storm Laura, since that's going to be moving into our area in the coming days for Saturday. So we're going to go out of this and go to a global model to get a better idea, since this is days out. We're talking about Saturday, so we're talking about 3 days out before Laura even comes into our area. So we're going to go to the northeast. Actually, we're going to zoom it out. We're going to go to the United States portion of the model to get a better idea of where Laura is and then where it's going to go from there. So we're going to look at the 500 millibar height anomaly, and that's good for looking at areas of low pressure or high pressure within the atmosphere, and it'll give us an idea of any patterns that are currently present over the United States. Right now, a very intense trough is present over parts of Maine and that extreme northeast. Very, very deep trough right now. So that's probably explaining for all the severe weather we've been seeing right now and for the past few hours. And then over here in this area of Texas, Louisiana, in blue and a little bit of a red spot right here over Louisiana is Tropical Storm Laura. So that is the area of low pressure that we're seeing right over Texas and Louisiana. And then overall what the pattern is, what it looks like, it's a little bit of a messed up obscure pattern, but overall we have this very strong upper level trough over the east coast and parts of the northern Atlantic, and the jet stream kind of rises up into portions of the northern U.S. and parts of Canada as well. And then also we have a little bit of a tiny trough right here. I wouldn't really call that as major as this one, but there is a little bit of a trough right here in the atmosphere, so area of a low pressure. So going forward with Tropical Storm Laura, what we're going to be looking at is this pattern right now is going to kind of break up as Laura moves into our area. And Laura is going to be kind of accompanied by a frontal system that's going to be moving into our area. And you can see that area of low pressure currently over this portion of Canada, just to the north of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And that's going to bring a cold front that drapes down from the south and southwest. So you should be seeing a cold front kind of setting up across the nation around this area later on for Friday going into Saturday. And then from there, Laura kind of integrates with this frontal system and becomes part of it, even though that it is going to intensify just a little bit as it moves out into the warmer part of the Atlantic right now off our waters, it is going to be a part of this frontal system going forward. So it is not going to have the tropical characteristics we normally would see with a tropical cyclone, or we've seen in the past from this system overall. And then from there, we see that system kind of move out and make way for some pleasant weather on Sunday. And then eventually the long-term forecast for that is we get a little bit of another system that makes its way into our area going forward into next week. Since that is very far out right now and I can't really give a definitive forecast with that, we're just going to leave that right there and not talk about that system a week out from now, but we're going to mainly focus on the situation for hurricane or tropical storm Laura for Saturday. And we're going to take a look at the amount of rainfall we're going to be seeing, because that's going to be the biggest threat for our area going forward on Saturday. Throughout the entire day, you're going to be seeing rain across the region. And we're going to trying to find the precipitation. Here it is, 24-hour precipitation. We're going to go over the northeast. Actually, we're going to use the United States frame for right now, and then from there we'll zoom into our area of the United States just before we talk about other things. So we have Tropical Storm Laura right here over the portions of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and a little bit of Oklahoma is seeing some action right now in terms of rainfall from Tropical Storm Laura. We're looking at almost 3 inches of rainfall in a 24-hour span, so we could be seeing even more in terms of the total amount of rainfall for that area. And going forward, that area is going to be moving into our region of the United States for Saturday, and we're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall throughout the day. It may not be heavy at all times, but it is going to be persistent throughout the day on Saturday. So we're going to zoom in on our area of the United States and get a better idea of the predicted rainfall the European model is saying right now. So we're looking at Saturday. We're actually going to look at Sunday, since this is the 24-hour rainfall, so it's the amount of rainfall that's fallen within a 24-hour span. And what we're looking at overall is about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall for New Jersey, mainly for portions of northern central New Jersey. Southern New Jersey isn't really going to see all that much in terms of rainfall, but I would not be surprised if it gets up to an inch of rainfall from the remnants of Laura. And we're also going to take a look at another model product that's helpful for giving an idea of how much moisture is in the atmosphere, and that is the precipitatable water product, and that gives us an idea of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. Basically, if you were to take a column of atmosphere and take all of the water out of it and if it would to fall as rain, this is an idea of how much water or rain would fall from that column in the atmosphere. So it gives us an idea of how much moisture is in a particular portion of the atmosphere for all height of the atmosphere. So what we're looking at for, you can actually kind of see Laura kind of approaching, bringing its tropical moisture into our area going into Saturday, and then eventually on Saturday we're going to be seeing those heavy amounts of rainfall. For this, actually, that was actually my phone notifying me that my area has gotten a special weather statement from the National Weather Service. So we'll look at that in just a second to see what the latest from the National Weather Service in Mount Holly is. But for Tropical Storm Laura, we're looking at almost 2 to 3, almost 2.5 inches of precipitatable water within the atmosphere as Laura is moving over our area. So even if it doesn't drop all of that water, it's still very moist in the atmosphere, and that's the reason why we're going to be seeing so much rainfall with Tropical Storm Laura. And that'll about wrap it up for the forecast for Tropical Storm Laura. I can't really, there's nothing really to talk about with Tropical Storm Laura after it moves into our area, because from there it's just going to integrate into that frontal system and then dissipate from there. So we're going to look at the National Weather Service real quick, since there was a new special weather statement that was just issued for my area. I'm actually going to see what that is. So they're highlighting Morris, Hunterdon, Western Monmouth, Somerset, and Middlesex County with this particular special weather statement. That's why I got that special weather statement on my phone. So they're just notifying that the severe weather system that line of thunderstorms that we were just seeing pop up is going to be moving into our area going forward. So looking at central New Jersey, seeing this thunderstorm line move through in the next few minutes to hour. They're saying about 40 miles an hour of wind gusts are possible with this thunderstorm. I would not be surprised if we do see a little bit of hail with some of these stronger cells, and I can't really say the same for an isolated tornado, but here again, you cannot rule that out entirely. So that's the situation that with Hurricane or Tropical Storm Laura for the next few days for Saturday, and then also an update on the severe weather situation for New Jersey right now. Now, if we go to the National Hurricane Center and talk about the future of the tropics, since there isn't going to be really much weather to talk about other than Tropical Storm Laura moving into our area on Saturday and the very beautiful weather we'll see on Sunday. It should be very cool as that pattern begins to break up. I can't really say the same thing for the National Hurricane Center's latest outlook on the Atlantic right now, because we not only have one but two areas we need to watch for going forward in the Atlantic. Initially, this was an area that was highlighted by the National Hurricane Center as Laura was making landfall for two outlooks, and it finally just disappeared after an additional outlook, and this area popped up to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands, and now it looks like the Hurricane Center is watching this again since it has a higher chance of forming in the coming days. Right now, a very low chance for forming. Right now, this area has about a 30% chance in the next 5 days, and this one also has a 30% chance of forming within the next 5 days. So what we're going to be looking at is these two possibly becoming the next tropical cyclones of the season, and probably the starting tropical cyclones for this conveyor belt that's going to be pumping out tropical waves out of Africa and bringing tropical cyclones into the Atlantic for the rest of the month going into the peak of the season in the middle of September. So we'll look at models real quick to see how favorable these areas have a chance of developing. Right now you can see very good amount of moisture in the atmosphere over these portions of the Atlantic. So in terms of what we're seeing right now, there is a good amount of moisture, although there is a little bit of a dry plume, it looks like, out ahead of this front area of development going forward. As we look forward into the European model, that plume kind of follows it along for the next few days. But it looks like from there on out, we could be seeing tropical cyclones one after the other coming out of the Cabo Verde Islands. So we're probably going to be seeing that conveyor belt pumping out tropical cyclones for the next few days going into the end of August into the beginning of September. Now, in terms of wind shear, it does look like things are very favorable right now. A little bit of wind shear to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands, but nothing really to worry about for these areas since they're going to be to the north of it. Overall, what we're looking at is very low wind shear across the Atlantic, and that's going to be the reason why we're seeing that peak in September. We're seeing all-time high of sea surface temperatures for the year during September. We're looking at the lowest wind shear during that time of September, and a lot of other favorable conditions are coming into play. So all the stars are kind of lining up for this peak of the season that's going to pump out cyclones one after the other. And then we'll look at our relative vorticity model to see how much development these two areas get.
National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning.
Actually, I just got a severe thunderstorm warning on my phone. So we're going to pause this for a second and see where that severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for. So we're looking at a potentially severe situation for my area, at least. It looks like the severe thunderstorm warning... That's odd. It's probably not loaded yet. Yeah, so this is the... watches, warnings, and advisories at 8:29. So it has not shown the newest tropical, severe thunderstorm warning for my area at least. So we'll have to look at that in just a little bit to see if we have any new updates on the severe thunderstorm line that's currently moving through. But just to notify you all that a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, probably for this area that we were just talking about in central New Jersey, as that severe thunderstorm line moves through. We'll look at current radar real quick to get an idea of things. And we'll go to our College of DuPage website. And we're going to zoom into our region again. So here's that thunderstorm line right now. Actually, it's kind of those cells we were just seeing pop up. They've kind of integrated themselves into both of these lines. So right now, what it looks like, this line's kind of pushed away in terms of the setup right now, and what we're looking at is some thunderstorms kind of popping up and integrating themselves into this line of thunderstorms. So that's what we're looking at right now. These thunderstorms are really popping up. So we could be seeing hail with these very intense, very quickly intensifying thunderstorms for the next few minutes going into the couple of hours that we have left of tonight. We're going to go back to the National Weather Service, see if that severe thunderstorm warning has been posted. Yes, it has been. So it looks like that area we were just talking about for the special weather statement has been issued into a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So we're talking about southeastern Hunterdon County, Mercer County, Somerset, Monmouth, Middlesex, and east central Bucks County in this severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued as we're doing this live update, and that is in effect until 9:15 p.m. So we're looking for the next few hours this severe thunderstorm warning being in place. And it looks like 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are being reported on the latest radar scans from the Fort Dix radar tower on these severe thunderstorms. So we could be seeing upwards of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts from these thunderstorms, and I can't rule out the chance of small hail or an isolated tornado for these thunderstorms. So make sure to follow all the latest emergency weather alerts that come to your phone or your TV or however you get your emergency weather alerts, and make sure to follow them. It's important. There's a reason why they are there. They're to protect lives and property. So make sure you follow them to the T that they ask you to. So as we go back to the National Hurricane Center and the forecast for the next few days of the tropics. So again, these two areas we're gonna need to watch them for the next few days, going into next week and possibly towards the start of September. So these could be the next tropical cyclones of the season. I will continue to provide updates on these as new information comes out on these particular areas. So that'll about wrap it up for tonight's live weather discussion. I will continue to provide severe weather updates as I can with these severe thunderstorms that are currently moving through the area, and I'll be watching the radar for sure for the next few minutes going into the rest of the night. So that will be my evening plans for this Thursday night. So again, that will wrap it up for tonight. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. for our next live weather discussion and our last one for the week before we close it up for the weekend. And you will see me for the next live weather discussion after tomorrow on Monday. So the 31st, our last live weather discussion of the month as we head into September. School starts, other things start. I know school is going to be starting for me on September 1st, so that's going to be something to look forward to. So that'll wrap it up. Have a good night, everyone. Be safe. Make sure to follow those emergency weather alerts for tonight. Take care, everyone.